All right, hello, welcome back. We are right here on special right triangles talking about the 30, 60, 90s. So after we are finished with this video, you'll be able to solve for missing measures of 30, 60, 90 degree triangles with 85% accuracy. So we come down here to this slide. This is our picture with some of the formulas that we're going to be using. The 30, 60, 90s, okay, we have to identify or we have to label three different things in our picture. To label three things in the picture. Okay, the first thing being the hypotenuse. Okay, so we'll go ahead and do that in red. Hypotenuse is still located across from the 90-degree angle. Okay, so here's our hypotenuse. Okay, we also have to identify, number two, the short leg of the triangle. Okay, this only goes with 30, 60, 90s. Okay, the short leg, this goes with the smallest angle. And the smallest angle is the 30 degrees. And so the short leg is across from the smallest angle. So I go from 30 degrees straight across. That gives me my short leg. I'm going to call this guy the shorty. All right, and the last thing that we need is the long leg. And the long leg is the opposite of the short leg. It goes with the largest angle, which is 60 degrees in this case. Okay, so across from the 60 degrees, I just take an arrow, go straight across. This is the long leg. Okay, so now that the picture is labeled, we have different formulas for each one of these. The long leg is x times the square root of 3. Okay, we probably should have started with the short leg because that's what everything's based on. The short leg is x. Okay, so that's the formula for the short leg. So if you have the short leg, you can find these other two pretty easily. So the long leg takes the short leg and it multiplies it by the value square root of 3. The hypotenuse takes the short leg and it multiplies the short leg by 2 to get the hypotenuse. Okay, so if you have the short leg, the other two are very easy to find. Okay, the other one that's easy to find is the hypotenuse. The hypotenuse, if you're given the hypotenuse, you can divide it by 2. That will give you the short side. And then once you have the short, you can find the long. But the tricky one is when you're given only the long side. When you're given only the long side and you're asked to find the short leg and the hypotenuse. So we're going to take a look at all three examples. Okay, so here we have some examples. We're going to start off with number 8. Okay, and the reason we're starting off with number 8 is because it's easy and we're going to work our way towards the harder ones. So when you're given pictures, okay, it's always easy to identify the hypotenuse, right? Because the hypotenuse is always across from the 90 degrees. Okay, depending on what other value they give you, if they give you 30 degrees, okay, that's relatively easy to take and draw the line straight across because 30 is the smallest. So this is going to give us the short leg. Okay, and then even though they don't give it to us, that would mean that this right here is 60 degrees. If I go straight across from it, that's going to be the long leg. Okay, so what I'm going to do next is I'm going to write the formulas for each one of these, and then we will be right back. All right, so we have our formulas. Now we're going to take what we know and plug it in. So what I do know here is that the short leg is 2. Okay, so my value for x is going to be 2. And this value is only for these formulas. Okay. Now, all I'm going to do is everywhere that I see a 2 or everywhere that I see an X, I'm going to replace it with a 2. Okay, so that's going to give me this right here. All right, so I just took these formulas over here on the right. I rewrote them and replaced everywhere that I saw an X with a green 2. And that gives us V, for V, the long leg, that's going to be 2 times the square root of 3. You don't need to simplify this any further. The hypotenuse, we have 2, which was from the formula, times the short leg, which is 2. And that gives us a value for U being equal to 4. All right, now the next example that we're going to take a look at is right here with number 11. So the first thing that I'm going to do again is label all of my sides. Okay, so across from the 90, we have the hypotenuse. Here's 60 degrees. Remember, 60 is an important number. 60 goes with the long leg. And the short leg is the only one that's left, so that's going to be Y. Now from these formulas, or actually just looking at this picture, what's given to me here is the long leg. So my formula for the long leg, okay, that one is X times the square root of 3. Okay. Now we know that the long leg is equal to 5 times the square root of 3. Okay, so between this line, this top line, and this other line, what changed? That's right. Only thing that changed was the X turning into a 5. So we can say that our X, in this case, X is equal to 5. Okay, sometimes it's easy like this, sometimes it's not. But in this case, it was a nice example for us. Okay, so now I'm at the point where I just need to figure out this X, this blue X, and then Y. So for the blue X, I have 2 times this guy, 2 times 5, X is equal to 10. And then for the short, notice here that this side is Y. Y is equal to this guy because from our formulas, this is X. So Y is equal to 5 as well. All right, we'll do one more example. Okay, I want you to solve number 12. So I'll pause the video and we'll come right back. All right, so here's some of the work that I have written down here. Okay, this was my first step, was labeling the triangle. So we have the hypotenuse attached with the 10. Got the long side, which is across from the 60 degrees. And then the short side was down here with the Y. Okay, now I rewrote the formulas in terms of the short side because that's what everything was based on. So the hypotenuse is equal to 2 lengths of the short side. Okay, the short side is equal to itself, and then the long side is equal to the short side times the square root of 3. So since I knew that the hypotenuse was equal to 10, I started up here, went to the short second, and then lastly, we went to the long. So all it did was replace the hypotenuse with 10, right? Because that's what it's equal to. And then my goal was to solve for the short side. So I said 10 equals 2 times the short. Divided everything by 2 to get rid of this. That gave me the short length equal to 9. So that's what Y is equal to. I took this 9, and everywhere that I saw short, I replaced it with a 9. So this ended up just being a check mark here, making sure that it's equal on both sides. Then down here for the long side is equal to the short, which is 9, times the square root of 3. That concludes it for this unit. By now you should be able to solve for special right triangles using 45, 45, 90 rule, and then the 30, 60, 90 rule. Next up, we will be taking a look at trig ratios.